Welcome to the Great Birch Forest. On this season of WhimsyCraft, I am upgrading the Birch Forest biome with my own ideas and story. So far, we have built a lovely starter campsite to call our temporary home. This tent provides our basic utilities, a place for rest, and some simple storage. This should be useful whilst we build our main base. We also have a temporary little farm to take care of our sheep and cows. And lastly, a villager trading hall for all of our enchanting needs. Last time we focused on gearing up and getting started with a basic villager breeder and iron farm. However, I would like to start construction of our main base. Before we can even begin that, we need to lift our terrain and relocate our nether portal as it currently sits in the middle of the lake. So, I hope you all enjoy the episode. I spent some time over the past week digging out this lake that branched the smaller ponds together. However, I'd plan on improving the appearance of it, just so it feels more unique. I've been experimenting with some designs in creative mode for the nether portal, and I've decided I want to put it somewhere near where the mega base will be. This will be in this forest behind me. We have a nice little bridge to cross across a river. We're accompanied with a waterfall, and our main base will be on the opposite side, separating the starter base and the main base. You might be wondering, where will the nether portal actually go? Because I want the entire base to be easily accessible from this nether portal, but I don't want it to be too much in the way. Right atop this hill, we'll have a little pond with our nether portal in the water, allowing for easy access with a trident and a nice viewpoint of the entire base. You should be able to stand atop the waterfall. Similar to this tree, look out and see the main base here, the starter base over there, and whatever else we decide to do across the lake, across that. This view should be good for first impressions when the whimsies come through the nether portal. So we'll have a lovely waterfall, some rocks down there, and easy access to both bases. I've also got to think about how you get back up. And I'm thinking of having it so I can trident back up. But then once I've booked here, I should build a trident to wherever I want to. But I've also got to consider how you're going to get up there without a trident, as not all the whimsies will have one. My idea is to use some bubble columns at the base of the waterfall that will send the players up to the top, and I think you should even be able to row a boat through there. They'll probably have to overhang a bit, so you can still get down without being shot up to the top. But it should turn out well, I just don't know if it will work yet. This portal currently, though, is the main priority as it is not accessible, and, surely the whimsies won't enjoy having to swim towards the base if they want to interact. So we are going to first start off with moving the portal up to there. We'll also be linking the nether portal up to the roof, as that will be where everybody's portals will be connected this season. We have a custom data pack on the server that allows us to make any shaped nether portals. But I'm thinking of making a circle, a nice circular one. Someone pointed out that everything I make is with circles. The entrance was circular, this room is circular, and the main base I'll be building soon is circular. Everything's just circles, and I haven't been able to not realise that since. So I'm just going to play into it, and we're going to make the nether portal a nice circle shape. I like to design what the portal looks like from the nether roof itself. I'm not sure. I might leave it basic because I don't know what we'll be doing with the nether roof yet, and if we'll be having something like a nether hole. I'm going to reuse the blocks from this nether portal on the nether portal up there as I ran out of obsidian. Then we can mine the one in the nether and move it to the nether roof. Okay, here we go. We can finally finish off our portal. That's one block. I'm gonna use my shulker as a temporary block. But I still need to get up to it though. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Just making sure there's no blocks in the way. Perfect. So now we can light it. There we go. Here is our nether portal for this season. Okay, now that we have our nether portal, let's actually see what it looks like from the inside. Let's see where it takes us. Okay, this is taking us to our current portal, so we'll have to move it up to the nether earth. Here we go. This is the corner of our portal. Honestly, not too far away from the stones. Okay, we've got a slightly larger portal for the time being. There we go, that's it. I'm hoping this links up. There we go. Another portal is now linked to the roof. Okay, so to continue with our lake, I'm wanting to make a little stone generator. We needed lava, so we headed into the nether, grabbed a bucket, and got what we needed. Whilst in the nether, I found a bastion, and got all this loot from it, which was not that bad. Especially the netherite in the smithing template. I'm going to temporarily build this stone farm on the other side of the lake. I plan on moving it up to the main base eventually, when I have a place in mind for it. But for now, it'll sit just across here, out of the way of the actual lake build. This design is by Mr. Cat on YouTube. It's a tutorial I've used before in the beginning. It does produce quite a bit of stone. And that is the design already done. It's extremely quick to build. And I'd just like to make a quick AFK chamber so I can do all the work whilst I mine the stone. After mining stone, I headed down into the caves to mine some tough and deep slate. These were the two of the resources I would need to complete the lake. Once returning to the forest, I began terraforming the lake a little, just to make the shape something I prefer. Once I was happy with the shape, I began outlining the lake with stone, trying to pull up with a nice shape for the inside. This is the progress I've made on the lake so far. So far, I've only used the stone from the stone generator, but I've outlined the lake with a stone border and even started having a little slope going inwards, using slabs and full blocks. I've been having to dig the lake deeper, from each layer at a time, as you can see over there. But once I had started adding tough and deep slate, I think we'll start looking better. I've been busy for a few days, but I spent some time working on the lake. I want to show you the progress. So far, I've only done this half. That half I've still got to do. We've got a nice gradient going from stone to tough to deep slate and then mud at the very bottom. And then along the edges, we've got some patches of grass, some stone with rocks. We've got a few rocks going along, and that's the same for over there. And then I've added some little plants of sugarcane and bamboo, with some string on top to make sure they don't grow any further. And this is just to add a bit of decoration to the lake, make it look like there's actual nature growing around it. It feels a lot nicer than the original lake. You just see the dirt, sand and gravel. But over here actually gets darker and draws your eyes. But towards the 10th, where we will have our waterfall, and where the base will be. Even just this view here feels so much nicer with the lake. Slowly gets darker to draw your attention upwards, and I really like that. I've been using this stone generator here while I've been AFK to just get some stone for it. And we also have, over here, we have some dirt, some chests, we have some grass plots, sand, gravel and other things, plants, and wood. For each of these we've got some stone, we've got some stuff, And some cobbled deep slate, although we have not gotten much. This is how much the cobbled deep slate we spent. Mud isn't very difficult to get. All we need to do is get a little bottle of water, and it's just a constant thing like that, and we can very easily just cover the bottom with mud. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time today just going around the other side of the lake, maybe probably digging this part out, and just getting it all nice and coherent with this side, and we should have a nice finished lake to begin working on the waterfall. The last thing to work on this part of the lake before we move on to the waterfall and the portal itself is the little rocks around the edges of the lake. Every time I've done a rock so far, they've been pointing upwards, and I'd like to try a different shape. I'm thinking of having one that points more outwards. Yeah, like this. Just needs a bit of a better shape. I'm like a rock that overhangs the lake a little bit. Okay, how does this look? Ooh, I really like that. It's a lot more unique than the other rocks here, and it gives us a nice standing point to look across the lake. Where should the next rock be? Definitely one here. Ooh, okay, yes, I really like this rock. So then we can move on to the next one. Okay, that's our second rock done. Okay, now I'm going through and texturing the rock with different blocks like tuff and cobblestone. I like making somewhat of a pattern. It's not repetitive, and it isn't too complicated. I just like making a line through the rock as if it's like a crack. The tuff represents the darker areas, and the cobblestone somewhat blends that into the stone. Then I just like spreading this across the rock, just to give it a bit of texture, a bit of variation, make it a bit more unique. So as you can see here, we're making a nice line. But it's not too straight of a line, and it's not too curved. It just follows a nice path. That makes it look like it's got a bit of damage. But it's not pristine and clean. Okay, I've now finished this rock. The little cracks burn through it, and I think it looks quite nice. We've got some damage down here by the water. And now, I'm going to go replicate this effect on every other rock we've made. Okay, I've now finished texturing all of the rocks around this edge, so it matches the rocks on that side. I've added some plants with some string, so they stay at the same level, and I think it's perfect. Even standing up here, it all looks nice and coherent. I think it looks quite pretty, and it's much more unique than the vanilla lake. So now all we've got left to do is the river running up to the waterfall behind me, and the waterfall itself. But before we get into that, Scan wants to show me his flower area. So in the meantime, enjoy some footage of when I met Zip the other day.
Alright. Really close. Yeah, it's down this. Yeah, there. There Zipn is. This way then.
I hear a Scan.
Are you sure about that? Hello.
Hi, Scan.
Hello.
Hi.
Ow!
Oh, and we got Chloe.
Yeah.
Chloe. So.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I saw.
Hello.
Ah, look. Oh,
But-
you can
Is
us.
there a
Wait.
cult here? Am I
Join
being
us.
initiated?
Join
Am I
us.
being initiated into a cult?
Yes. We are blue.
Yay!
Ah, yes.
Yay!
We are all part of the blue.
I
It's a
was just gonna
souvenir.
go find a place to make a base.
Ah, yes. We decided to come here. To
No,
Ooh.
I can't accept.
Ooh.
That's
Ah.
expensive.
Ooh, you thought.
Yeah, it's fun. I you do running away. That's so much good. I'm just
in the
gonna walk
Discord,
straight.
In the
Going
Discord,
straight.
if you go to
really,
photos
that's
and
just
just
really
scroll
that
up, you'll
last
see
time.
my cat.
Let's just walk straight towards them. These are funny.
Should we always be in the distance and just stare at him?
Yeah, no, that was I was thinking. Imagine if we split up and stare from different areas.
Let's be weeping angels.
Stalking me. You're stalking me.
Where do you think she is? I don't know where she is. Oh, there's.
I'm gonna try to. I can't go faster.
Yeah.
I want to try to cut him off and try to scare him. I don't know why.
Same. Just a no. She's very jumpy. I think I lost her. Oh gosh, this is the problem. We should not never have given her the head.
I'm right behind you, aren't I?
I think I know that reference.
After meeting with Skell, we've decided that I'm going to build a moss farm over by his flower farms. I was going to build one around here, since I'll need it for my waterfall, but I wasn't sure where to put it. But now that we've got this district for these plants, having the moss there is not only a good source of bone meal for his flower farms, but also gets us the moss we need. I just need to gather some resources, and then I'll head over to begin building. Now we're on our creative log just to test a simple moss farm. I've used this design in Season 1 of the Gideon Minecraft server, and it worked quite well. I hid it within a hill so it would run whilst I was AFK, and it wouldn't stand out so much from my base. Well, since we're just going to be building it in a flower farm area, it should be fine to just build it as it is. I've used this moss farm designed by Subwoofer622. I've used this as a base to understand how it works, and I'm going to build my own, trying to make it more efficient. This might sound random, as it isn't part of our main goals, but I have been working on a froglight farm. Both Scan and I really need froglights for our bases, so I opted in to make a froglight farm to sell them in the shopping district. I experimented with the design in creative mode to make it both look nice and be quite functional and efficient. I found a tutorial by Donny on YouTube for a froglight farm that works quite well. I've used this design here and implemented my own chest system for it. Scan managed to get 4 of each frog variant for us, so that we could use them in the froglight farm. Once it was built, I spent about 3 hours AFKing at World Height in the Nether, just to see how much it could produce. We managed to get about 60,000 of each kind of froglight in just 3 hours, which really is not that bad. I managed to get 3 shulkers full, ready to start our shop once it is built. And here we are in the shopping district. As you can see, Scan has already started setting up his shop, and I have checked with the other whimsies that this spot across the lake where the froglights are is a good spot for my froglight shop. I've just got to terraform the area slightly to make room for our shop, and then I'll start building it on a lovely time lapse. I spent some time in the past week coming up with the idea of this shop on a very small laptop that struggles to process Minecraft. It luckily manages to handle it just enough for me to be able to build things like this, which saves me time later, so I could just get on and immediately built this once I had access to my computer. And now it's time to build the shop itself. I wanted the whimsies to easily be able to find the shop, so I decided it would be cute to have a nice little frog sitting in a lily pad. I just think it's such a whimsical little idea that it's absolutely perfect for this. It both has a ladder to easily access from the ground, and the open marvelous of the lighter entrances. So it's very accessible and easily able to see what it is. And I honestly really enjoyed designing it. I originally designed it with a closed mouth, but decided the open mouth would be better. I used Gilded to try and rotate it, but it wasn't perfect, so I made some minor adjustments myself. And I just really love how it turned out. If you have any ideas for what we could name the frog, leave your suggestions in the comments below. Okay, now we can finally move on to the final project, the waterfall. In creative mode, I came up with the very top of the waterfall, where we'll have a little pond at the nether portal. So I just want to go up here and map out where it should go. And then we'll continue from there, build the rest of the terrain, and make it just look nice. The terrain itself I haven't planned, so we'll just try our best to make it look good. And I hope you enjoy the final time-lapse of this video. Let's go. I started off with the pond at the top. I followed the exact same method as I did for the rest of the lake. I made the waterfall itself 2 blocks thick so that I could have a water column at the back and just flowing water at the front. At first it was difficult to like the waterfall, as it just looked like floating water without the rest of the terrain. But as I slowly added gradients and improved the river, it started to look nicer. It still felt very hopeless building the design for this, but once I started going with the stone walls, it gave me a lot more motivation to get through it. It actually felt more complete with the walls there, as I could actually feel the structure forming. For the portal itself, I'd already planned a cave behind the portal. There is one part of the cave that I'll have to come back and build in the next episode, as it doesn't make sense narratively for it to be there before we start the main base. While the hill made the waterfall feel more complete, I still couldn't get over how plain and boring it looked. I know I wanted to add more texture to it, but still, just the shape felt incomplete. After about a week of thinking and planning, I decided to have another go at improving the shape and structure of the hill. Starting with the river itself, I decided to make the shadows of tuff and xchloechxn rise higher along the walls, just so the little bits of stone coating the terrain weren't too flat and boring. Around the waterfall itself, I decided to texture the stone with mud and xchloechxn just to make it look more damp and wet. Somehow it also helped improve the colour of the water. It stopped it from feeling more like a very bluish grey and more like water. After blending the deep slate and mud with cobble and tuff, I decided to use some basic stone and andesite to make the appearance of little rocks on the side of the cliffside. I used the andesite to highlight the areas where light would be hitting, just so it looked more three-dimensional, while using stone in the more lower right parts of the rocks. When it came to the moss and greenery on top of the cliffside, I used a very similar block palette to what I used in Beginning in Season 1. On my floating islands, I used green wool, green concrete powder, and moss as they all have a very similar colour, with a very slight shape differences and textures, so it worked really well for some variation without being too contrasting to work alongside each other. On the left side, I added a little bit of an overhang, just because I felt like it needed something on the side of it to stand out, especially in comparison to the other side. I didn't want it to feel too symmetrical nor too flat. After a quick check-in with scan of the moss farm, I have finished the whole waterfall. The top of the portal, we have a lovely moss tub, and I have finished it all the way around, so it isn't just the front side anymore, I actually did the back. And this part isn't even hollow, I managed to fill it all the way up to the top. It didn't take too much stone, but places like this waterfall will, so I'll do that off camera. And it isn't completely done. We do have one more structure to add to the interior of here. But that'll be next episode, as it is part of the main base, really. And it doesn't make sense for me to add it just yet, when the main base contains this. For now, our waterfall is fully complete. Just need to grow a few trees on the side, and it is done, but the build itself, it is exactly how I planned it to be. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and tell me what was good about it in the comments below. I really enjoyed doing the terrain, as terrain is one of my favourite things to do in Minecraft, and this nice style just, it feels really nice. Obviously these birch trees are currently Minecraft's own, and they won't be staying for very long. Once we've got our main base done and have some progress in a few more episodes, we'll probably start building our own custom trees around. I'm not sure how tall they will be, but they'll be quite different to these in particular. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! Totally broke Minecraft. It's like a glitch at the top of the screen, and the splash text is just looping. I was just rendering a time lapse. How on earth did this happen? Oh, I truthfully don't know.